After months of anticipation, teams have put their 2023 cars to the test, pushing them to the limit at the Sakhir circuit. With a record-breaking 23 races on the calendar, the stakes have never been higher as drivers prepare to battle it out on the track for the ultimate prize, the championship title. And it all begins with the iconic Bahrain Grand Prix. So let's take a look at all you need to know about the Bahrain Grand Prix. The air was thick with anticipation as the sun rose over the Sakhir circuit, signaling the start of 3 days of testing ahead of the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix. Teams had spent countless hours developing and fine-tuning their machines in the off-season, and now it was time to see how they would perform on the track. On the opening day, it was Max Verstappen who stole the show for Red Bull Racing, setting the pace and leaving his rivals in the dust. The two-time world champion looked calm and composed behind the wheel as if he was born to race. But as day 2 dawned, a shock result shook the paddock to its core. Alfa Romeo's Zhou Guanyu stunned everyone by setting the fastest time of the day. And then, on the final day, it was Sergio Perez who put in a blistering lap to top the timesheets. Here are major highlights as we head to the first Grand Prix of the 2023 season, the Bahrain Grand Prix. The pre-season test days are always full of surprises, but perhaps none more so than Aston Martin's performance this year. The Silverstone-based team came into the test feeling relatively optimistic about their chances of making progress in 2023, but even they could not have predicted the level of performance they would show on track. Despite a difficult start, with Lance Stroll unable to participate due to injuries sustained in a cycling accident, and his replacement Felipe Drugovich suffering a breakdown within the opening minutes of day 1, Aston Martin quickly found their stride. The team showed some impressive one-lap pace, putting in some of the quickest times of the test, and also demonstrated some incredibly strong race pace over long runs. As the days wore on, the paddock began to take notice of Aston Martin's performance, and whispers of them being this year's dark horses began to circulate. With a car that seems to be both fast and reliable, and a driver lineup featuring the experienced Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin could be poised to surprise everyone this season. However, there's a small question mark in that Fernando Alonso did not exactly nail what would have been his fastest soft tyre lap, so we are judging its potential on the hypothetical jump it should make when everything comes together. As the sun set on the final day of the F1 pre-season test, one thing was abundantly clear. Red Bull holds all the cards heading into the start of the season. The team has done a remarkable job of evolving last year's car into a machine that looks balanced, reliable, and without any significant weakness. Despite this, there are glimpses of hope from some of Red Bull's competitors. Ferrari in particular looks like they could be an able challenger to the Red Bull juggernaut. Their car design is certainly efficient, and they seem to have found a good balance during the test. However, there is one significant issue that could hamper their progress. The car eats tyres too quickly, making it difficult to compete with Red Bull over a full racing stint. This means that while Ferrari will start the season as the second fastest car on the grid, the gap between them and Red Bull could become more apparent as the season progresses. Of course, anything can happen in Formula 1, and there are still plenty of races to come. But for now, it looks like Red Bull is the team to beat, and their rivals will need to pull out all the stops if they have to topple them from their perch. As the first race of the season draws near, there are some concerns within the Mercedes camp. While the team is in better shape than they were at the start of last season, it's still clear that they are not quite on the same level as the top two teams. It seems that, once again, Mercedes will find themselves playing catch-up to Red Bull and Ferrari. Although the porpoising and ride problems from last year are gone, and the car looked more stable on track, there are still unanswered questions for the team. It's possible that there's a significant upside to the car that they have yet to unlock, which could propel them ahead of Ferrari and maybe possibly compete with Red Bull. However, if the Bahrain GP had taken place on Saturday night, the team would have been looking over its shoulders at the leading midfielders rather than challenging the top two. The team will need to work hard to address the remaining issues and unlock the car's full potential if they hope to be competitive this season. It's going to be an uphill battle, but with the right approach, they can still make significant progress throughout the year. If you're enjoying this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks. It's testing, so ultimately you cannot be too sure with any prediction, but there did seem to be a slight feeling of frustration at McLaren around the car's performance. McLaren is the least prepared team after testing, completing the fewest laps and with what appears to be one of the weaker cars in terms of both pace and on-track poise. Andrea Stella said at the car's launch that the MCL60 isn't quite where they want it to be just yet, and so it appears with running and testing highlighting that there are some issues that need to be fixed. Lando Norris reportedly whacked a temporary wall in frustration at the end of the test as well. He is worried that they're going towards the wrong end of the field and starting slowly in 2023 as they did in 2022. The entire development path appears to be a disaster, and the first few F1 races are going to be damage limitations for the team. This was certainly not what McLaren had in mind for this season. There is going to be a major overhaul after the first few F1 races on the car, but one has to agree that this is just not ideal for the team in any which way. The 2022 Formula 1 season was a roller coaster ride for Alfa Romeo. While they started off strong, scoring regular points in the first half of the year, their momentum tailed off towards the end of the season. However, they still managed to finish in a respectable 6th place in the standings. This year, Alfa Romeo has managed to avoid the difficult moments they experienced during testing in 2022, with Valtteri Bottas only having a minor red flag incident on the final day. Speaking to the press in Bahrain, the Finnish driver expressed his confidence in the car, saying that it felt 50% better than last year's machine. But can Alfa Romeo spring more surprises this season? With their improved preparation and a well-prepared team, there is certainly potential for them to cause a stir on the grid. The team already has shown their potential, and if they can maintain their momentum and avoid any major setbacks, they could certainly be a team to watch out for. The combination of experienced driver Bottas and promising youngster Guan Yu Zhao could prove to be a winning formula for Alfa Romeo, and fans are eagerly anticipating what the team has in store for the season ahead. Just like the start of the 2022 F1 season, there was quite a bit of unpredictability from one race to the other before the order settled down. We could see something similar this time around as well. The competition in the midfield is set to be intense, with each team relying heavily on the contributions of their drivers. The margin for error will be small, and even the smallest mistake could be the difference between finishing in the points or not. However, it's not just the drivers who will make a difference. With the midfield so tightly packed, it will be the team that can make the best use of their resources and strategize effectively that will come out on top. This means that the midfield teams will need to be innovative and creative in their approach to racing if they want to gain an advantage over their rivals. The frontrunners still appear to be in a league of their own once again, but the F1 midfield appears to have surely shrunk this season. This was the best pre-season test that Williams have had in a handful of years, and both Alex Albon and Logan Sargent appeared really happy about where the car was and how it performed. They both clocked up the laps over the course of the test, and the car appeared to have a reasonable pace, with many thinking that they would close the gap to the midfield teams that felt so out of reach for much of last season. Of course, the proof will be in the race pudding next Sunday, but it was a welcome sight seeing those connected with the team all feeling pretty positive. And hopefully, they are going to be in the mix more in 2023 than they were last year. What's your thought about the coming 2023 F1 season? What are your top 5 driver predictions for the Bahrain Grand Prix? Let us know in the comment section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.